Alright, ladies, gentlemen, and kiddies, thanks to Tribe Motor Philippines here in Artigas Avenue here in San Juan in Metro Manila. And today, I will be taste testing the 2020 Triumph Street Scrambler 900, or plain and simple Street Scrambler. So this is one of the entry-level bikes, and this will be my first ever time I'll be riding a Triumph Bonneville based motorcycle since the Speedmaster right over there, the cruiser one. I'm very excited to ride a bike like this since the Street Twin isn't available yet, since it's been test ridden around at the moment. So while waiting, might as well try this one out. Since the Street Twin is the base Bonneville, this is the next level up. So I'm gonna taste test this right now. Let's adjust the mirrors, pretty good articulation. And let's turn it on. It has a tiny gear shift indicator there. It has some different ride modes, etc., etc. I'm not gonna touch any of that. Let me start it. Oh, it sounds nice. One thing about the Scrambler, the Street Scrambler version, is this bike is off-road ready, but not off-road capable. This is like somewhat of a hardcore crossover, like one of those RAV4 TRD Pro or something like that. It has the same tires as my V-Strom tires, the Metzler Tourans. So it has 19-inch fronts, so you can go off-road, mild off-roady, like gravel and everything like that. The exhaust is a little bit higher compared to the standard Bonnevilles. And it doesn't burn me because the heat shielding is pretty good, and it feels like I'm sitting like I'm like in a dirt bike. Here we go. The riding position is just right at home for me. It's basically a naked ADV bike for me, like that. So let's see how this bike rides. Meep meep. I like the way this engine revs. It has that creamy feel into it. So as you can see, it doesn't have a analog tachometer. It has a digital tach, and also it has a tiny gear shift indicator, but it has an analog speedometer. So it's a DG analog. It also has a fuel gauge, which is good. It has your riding mode right there at the bottom. I think you can change it. You can remove the traction control too, but I'll leave it to the tach instead. Basically, the switchgear is pretty basic. The clutch resistance is very, very light. It's like you're squeezing from an underbone motorcycle. I like the way it revs, relaxed. It doesn't wanna. It's not buzzy. All right, vibration-wise, at 3,500 revs from just a minute ago, there's no vibration on my seat nor on my handlebars, but there's a little bit hit of vibrations on my foot. Other than that, it's pretty nice. The gear selector is very tactile, very mechanical. You can really feel that you're going through the gears. The front brakes is very sensitive to the point that you can be easily modulated, and it's also easy to rev match too. The rear brakes, easy to modulate too, very tactile feeling. This 900cc engine is adequate already. The brakes is just analog feeling. Trail braking this bike is very easy too. In fact, I can live with this bike too because if it's set up, it's somewhat Manila proof already. But also it has that a lazy factor. It doesn't want to rev too much. It's not a high-strung motorcycle like, let's say, some parallel twins like the Vulcan S or something like that. And it's also much more comfortable to ride compared to most of the Ducati Scramblers that I've ridden. From the 400 to the 1100. And this has just the right size, 900cc. It's easy to trek around Manila. You can also hear the engine, even with earplugs on which I'm currently wearing right now. But if you want a louder sound, you can opt with a aftermarket exhaust if you do so. But as it is, stock, it's pretty easy to ride. The side mirrors has a good coverage. Also, easy to rev match. And if you're coming from an ADV motorcycle, you'll feel much at home with this than for you to transition from an ADV bike to a real naked bike. The torque is also adequate. The Metzler Tourants, I'm so used to the grip with the Tourants because that's my everyday tire on my bike right now. The seats are just so plushy soft. You don't need to rev it up to high heavens just to enjoy this bike. You can just cruise it like nobody's business. Meep, 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 meep. The suspension has a good bounce on that bump right there. I love the way the brakes feel on this bike. And the way it handles the bumps very well. It's not too jarring. No wonder some movie actors here in the Philippines likes to ride a Street Scrambler simply because, number one, it's not too overly complicated. Number two, it's Manila proof. Plus it looks cool. You stand out with the crowd. Especially if you're gonna go to a coffee meet or something like that. This bike is the perfect dress code for that. Also, one thing I notice on slower speeds, I can feel some warm feeling right here in the pipe wedges, obviously. But if you use a true riding pants, it won't affect you that much. But right now I'm wearing a 504 Levi's. It's there, yeah. Sure, it's not as flicky as the Street Twin because this one has a bigger front tire, 19 inches. Compared to the Street Twin 17, so it might not be as flickable as you may want, but for me it's fine. It delivers the perfect balance and everything. It also likes to eat the bumps too. In Las Vegas, I can ride this thing every day, and if I see a fire trail somewhere, I can ride this no problem. You may not have enough ground clearance for you to go off-roading seriously, but for commuting purposes, it does its job very well. Now we're gonna test its traffic ability. As you can see, it's bumper to bumper over there. So we're just gonna use with the stupid traffic here in Metro Manila. The throttling is excellent. Butter smooth. No jerky feeling. And I like the torque band on this thing too. And it's like I'm riding a smaller CB1100. It relaxes you. It's one of those bikes that you can appreciate the things around you even at this terrible Metro Manila traffic. See, with just second gear. Whoa, that's a very bumpy spot, but it handled it flawlessly. I'm not so sure when it's the red line on this bike, but of course I'm not gonna hit it. Just curious. So comfortable. The ergonomics is just spot on for me. It handles the concrete surfaces very well too. Yep. A bridge between an ADV bike and a naked bike. Sure, it's a little bit firm, but not unforgiving like some naked bikes. It's a good crossover motorcycle. Let's see how this thing can weave through traffic between cars. It does it really well. bonk. So while you're at stop, the heat, of course, especially right now your leg is touching on the pipe. You can really feel it, but it's not annoying. It doesn't burn your leg to a crisp. And also, I think I forgot to do an ergonomics check. So while I'm still here, I'm 6'3", 200 to 220 pounds, with a 35-inch overall inseam with a size 13 foot. And pretty perfect. Pretty perfect. The brakes is just beautiful. It has the torque that I wanted. When you need it, it's there. Uh-oh, there's a car. You don't have to rev this bike up to the heavens right now. You could just shift whenever you want it to, because the torque will just deliver on you. I like the mechanical feel of the gear selector in this bike, especially when your gear lever is so freaking light. It's like you're riding an underbone motorcycle. There's a sudden jerkiness a little bit on sudden acceleration. Other than that, it's pretty fine still. Yeah, on walking speeds, there's some heat emanating right here on my left shin and on my right shin. That's coming from the engine, but all Bonnevilles are water cooled. You also might notice that the seat is a little bit higher compared to the Street Twin. For my height, it's no problem, but anyone shorter than 5'6" might struggle to ride this thing because it has that adventure bike ergonomics, on which some people might find it a little bit intimidating. Since I took the wrong way, I might as well take it this way. It's not part of my route. I'll take the same street anyway. I'll just use a different route. It's so easy to ride. Oh, this is far faster than through Mega Mall. I picked the right route. If your bike is revving less than two grand, 2,000 RPMs, the bike starts to buck a little bit if you suddenly accelerate. But other than that, the bike is very smooth, very communicative. I love the seats on this thing. It's daily friendly, that's for sure. This is nice. I like the balance of this bike. It's not too intimidating. And this is just the second to the base Bonneville series. The one that is below this is the Street Twin. I haven't ridden that bike yet, but I can imagine already how good will that bike be. This is the next in line from the Street Twin, and I'm liking this already. I love how the brakes act on this thing. I like that open rear feeling. It's so refreshing. It handles high speeds really well too. It can be very comfortable on the freeway too. If you're planning to take this in a longer rides, you can. It does the freeway situation too, as I demonstrated earlier. Even at 140 kilometers, I'll put a miles per hour on top, but it's not that settled. The weight is really planted down and so forth. Sure, you don't have wind protection. It'll exhaust you after certain moments in time because you're in a naked bike. But that's besides the point. If you're gonna use this bike primarily for Metro Manila or in a city like in San Francisco, LA, or Las Vegas, this can be it basically. Especially if you don't want to worry about your cast wheels. This one has spoke wheels, so you can see like a dirt bike. So you don't have to worry about bending your cast wheel, breaking your cast wheel. If you want to go to a fire road, if you want to go to a semi-off-road exploration, you can do this with this bike, unlike the Street Twin. so easy to ride in Metro Manila. This is the perfect city bike in Metro Manila, in my opinion. In Las Vegas, if you're surrounded by off-road venues, off-road fire roads, this is also a good bike for you. It may not be a corner carver like the Street Twin or the Speed Twin, as a matter of fact, or even the Bonneville T100. This bike is well-rounded. I like well-rounded bikes. I like bikes that is not a one-trick pony, to say the least. Low speed maneuverability is pretty good. And right now we're back at Triumph here in Ortigas, and we put it to neutral. There's your neutral there. Off. Off. Plain and simple. The side stand is easy to locate and is also easy to deploy. And there you go. I think you can get a center stand on this bike as an option. For me, I need a center stand because of the chain or certain situations or for storage purposes. I don't want to warp my tires on one side whatsoever. 19-inch front wheels with a Metzler Torrents, the regular Torrents, not the Torrents Next, but the regular Torrents. As you can see, the chain is on the left side, unlike most bikes that are on the right side. Excuse me. Instead of the left side, like most motorcycles are, this one is where the chain and exhaust on the same side. That's pretty unique. Let me see the brakes. The brakes are just beautiful. Oh, I see. It's Brembo's. Okay. Okay, it's Brembo's. It has that B. It has that letter B in it. So this is the 900cc parallel twin. Very classy looking parallel twin. Just like all Bonnevilles, you know. This engine is shared between the Street Twin and I think that's it. And the T100, yeah, the T100 Bonneville. But this Street Scrambler is just awesome here within Metro Manila. I bet it's going to be also awesome in Las Vegas because this can go to fire roads with no problem. Sure, ground clearance is an issue if you're gonna take it seriously off-road, which this bike is not intended to. This one also, you can remove the rubber insert on this and make it all teeth. If you want a scrambler that is a little bit more off-road capable, you can go up to the Scrambler 1200, on which they have 21-inch wheels, but that's way bigger already. Well, the exhaust doesn't burn me. It's not as bad, you know. You think that your legs might get burned because of this, but no, it's okay. It's just warm. It's not excruciating cooking. It's not grilling your leg in particular. And it has a luggage rack there, which is good. Most of the time I ride solo, so that's good for me. I can put some tie downs and everything. So it has some riding modes. It has some traction control switches here. Both levers are adjustable too. So there you have it. The Street Scrambler. Also, one thing to note is for you to see the difference between the Bonneville 900s and the Bonneville 1200s is the front disc brakes. If it's the 900, it has a single disc brake. If you look at the 1200, like this one, the Speedmaster, it has 2 disc brakes. There you go. Just to point it out. So there you go. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the ding dong on Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Minds, Gab, maybe in Parlor too, or melapid.com. And hopefully I'll see you guys later. If you have any questions, comments, or whatever, just let me know down in the comment section below. Alrighty, see you later. Peace out. Also, 2 thumbs way up on this. Awesome bike. Alrighty, take care.